these things don't come together by themselves. It takes someone with a lot of vision and a lot of enthusiasm to put all this together. And the man behind this incredible festival is Colin Thompson. He's with me now. Colin, welcome to Blues on the Hill.
Glad to be here. Thank you very much, Barry.
This lineup is incredible. We've just been talking about it. Now, 4 days, 45 venues, over 170 acts. You really are getting into Blues Fest territory here. You're getting in some very big numbers.
It's pretty crazy. We're actually up to 48 venues now since the graphics were done for the posters and whatnot. But yeah, with over 180 acts when you include, acts that weren't able to be listed due to the time of printing, like a school band showcase artists, which is a bunch of school bands from around the traps, all playing on the Sunday up at the Lumborough Theatre. But so many fantastic returning acts that I'm certainly excited to see again. But so many fresh faces, which we're proud to show off as well.
Now, let's talk about the growth. Just sort of give people a brief history on how you started and the numbers and the growth of where you are now.
Yeah, it's a little bit mind-numbing when I think about it, but we started off in 2011 after 18 months of planning and thought we were putting on a massive event at the time, and with 60 odd acts we had that year over 3 days, and that included around 16 venues, I think. Since then, it's grown organically, I'm glad to say, in that we haven't had to go shopping for venues. Venues have wanted to come on board. So we're ticking that box, so to speak, as far as that has been a big part of our manifesto, is get venues interested in hosting live music again. And this year, yeah, it's just monstrous, with over 180 acts in total, 48 venues as we mentioned, and a very, very tough juggle. So I apologise to all those artists out there who are involved in waiting for emails from me, because it's just so hard to get to everyone in a reasonable time frame when we're growing exponentially. It's mental.
Where does it stop? How do you pull that? How do you put a sort of a because you can't. Can you keep getting bigger?
Look, well, the fact that we're a grassroots level event, we're keen to have as many acts and as many venues involved as possible. But you're right, it does come a point where a bloke and his lovely patient wife have to get some sleep at some point. So we are seriously entertaining the idea of limiting the number of acts next year to 110 is the number we've come up with. Only a certain amount of visiting acts from interstate, and a certain amount of internationals, a certain amount from out of town, so that we can keep a lid on our accommodation expenses and a bunch of other things. Being a not-for-profit, we struggle with the financial side of it. When I make these big messes, and then our budget committee, I get the paddle taken to me a bit. But yeah, so next year we're certainly still happy to keep bringing on more venues, because the more that want to be involved, the merrier. However, it'll be easier to juggle and get the program done in a suitable time frame, a better time frame. We can get it out earlier to everyone if we've got less acts involved, which is going to be a tough one, because we had to say no to some acts this year that we really, really desperately wanted involved.
Yeah.
We would have over 400 acts involved if we could.
But the great thing is that there's so much talent, isn't there? Like, you've got 170, and there's probably another 170 that deserve to be honoured as well, which just shows the incredible talent in Australia, and more so Victoria, that we have.
Oh, definitely. Look, it's so tough. We went through the applications, of which there were hundreds, and I'm not sure how other festivals do it, established festivals, but what we do is we go through and look at absolutely every artist, regardless of whether we've heard of them or not, because you just never know what you're going to discover in amongst it all. So we listen to absolutely every artist. We one of the guys on the committee jokingly tells a story about the way I do things being way too laborious and time consuming, because if I can't find something I like necessarily on the first hit, I'll check something else out. I'll go looking, if they haven't put in a live YouTube vid, I'll look for one, and the programming committee are taking a different paddle to me as well, saying, come on, just, if they haven't got everything where it's supposed to be on the application, let them go and move on. But I want to give everyone a chance. We really do believe in, especially having been through the process myself. As an artist, struggling and putting in your applications and crossing your fingers and hoping for the best and never hearing back, or getting those, rejection emails at best. It's a tough gig. So I like to touch base with absolutely all of them that I can, we get to meet so many fantastic young artists, or artists of every age, I should say.
Yeah, and the great thing about your festival, and you've got the sort of same philosophy on me on blues and what blues is, and you've got every subgenre covered you can imagine of blues. You've got it all: funk, soul, rock, jazz, I don't know, rap maybe, a bit of everything. I mean, you've really got all those, and so it's something for everyone. And, people that say, well, I don't like blues. Well, get yourself along to this and it might change your mind.
That's exactly, it's not about just pleasing the purists, because if we just please the purists, and I know there's a lot of purists listening, so I've got to be careful and watch my P's and Q's, but we wouldn't...
The police, the blues police.
We'd only bring a certain amount of people to town, and we'd only get a certain amount of people off the couch, and that's been our goal all along, is getting people off the bums and out enjoying live music. We're lucky enough to be able to share so many styles underneath the subgenre, or the genre of blues and roots. And those purists who say, but there's a lot of things on the program that aren't blues, I say, well, was there enough of what you like on the program? I couldn't get to it all. I say, well, you're complaining about nothing then.
First of all, the family free day, which happens every Saturday at the festival, one of my favourite days.
Yep. I'll clarify, it's not a family-free day, we're not free of families. It's a family-friendly, it is a mouthful is what it is, a family-friendly, free entry, all-day concert in Rosalind Park, which is one of the most beautiful places in Bendigo. Rosalind Park is central to the city, and it's a beautiful green space with lots of shade and a beautiful place to put on some music. Yeah,
and you'll see the cream of the festival playing there.
Yeah, it's been held up as the centrepiece to our program from the start, and it's always been something close to our hearts, and that we'll always keep, regardless of how much we need to generate funds to keep paying for what we do. And we obviously have the odd ticketed event in the program here and there. We are determined to always keep that family-friendly, free entry event happening in the park every year, because that there is what it's all about. That's the heart of it. It's about getting people out and engaged and back into live music, and what better way than to have something where everyone can be comfortable enjoying the music.
Alright, so what sort of team have you got that puts this incredible event together? How many people?
Look, at any time of the year we've got roughly 180 people who lift a finger at one point or another.
Wow.
Over the course of the festival we've got 200 plus all volunteers. That includes a lot of the musicians, local musicians themselves are volunteers, but there's a lot of people on our committee and who do probably put in the most hours that aren't musicians. It's not about putting together something that we ourselves can play at. It's about putting on something that is good for the city, for our region, and for the music scene as a whole. And everyone on board is down with that idea and keen to put in. So it's amazing. Our core committee is about 20 people, and the team, that you'll see how many people are out and about, helping out on the day, in particular in the park, because that's the heart of the operation.
All right, and what about the special events you got running? You got lots of special things happening this year.
Yeah, look, in addition to all the venues, the great pubs cafes and halls and spaces where there'll be music. We've got a lot of outdoor spaces this year with music. One of the things that resonated with me last year was so many people said the same in their feedback to us of that walking through the CBD was such a special experience in that no matter where you were, you could hear fantastic music from every direction, and that's what we want to achieve this year again, and we're going to excel in that because we've got so many outdoor spaces hosting music. We're using spaces we haven't used before, like a Lumbra Theatre, which only opened this year and is a fantastic, wonderful new 900 plus seat theatre set into the old Bendigo jail. It's an incredible juxtaposition of old and new, and
the big show's happening on Saturday night.
Yep, that's with Joe Camilleri and the Black Sirens, of course, Backsliders and Hatfits and Cara. The Capitol Theatre is also heavily involved there in the Arts Precinct up in View Street, and they are hosting a brilliant show for us on the Friday night that has none other than Jeff Lang playing his first Bendigo Blues and Roots Music Festival gig, and he's playing exclusively at the Capitol that night, so please get on our website and get your tickets for that one if you don't want to miss out. Sal Kimber and the Rolling Wheel is also playing that show, as is Owen Campbell. You may remember him making a splash on the Australia's Got Talent a couple of years ago, and he's gone from strength to strength since. Great album, the last two albums, all great album, great musician. Yep. Rough and rugged and a class player, and he's a great operator. Lucy Thorne with Hamish Stewart are also on that show, so that's a really strong quartet of acts that are playing in one of our most special venues at the Capitol. There's so many other shows at so many other venues. There's a lot of youth emphasis this year in particular. We've sort of expanded upon that. Bill Barber, a young fella who moved to town a couple of years ago, his family moved to town because of our festival, which was a really mind-blowing thing to find out. We have a lot of youth sitting behind us, about to come on after Colin. We have Mr. Joe Camilleri wandering around there, terrorising everyone. But the youth is coming up, and that's a great thing about the festival. Yeah. And talk about the Lazenby Award. Yeah, look, the Lazenby Young Blues Guitarist Award is probably the spearhead of our youth-oriented events. It is an opportunity for us to put amazing young guitarists on a stage who, of varying gig experiences. We've had kids come from just having played in their bedrooms and at lessons to playing on a stage in front of hundreds of people, and coming away with the biggest grin you can imagine. So we're loving bringing these young players into the family, so to speak, showing them and demonstrating there's a larger community for them to be a part of, and we're here to support them. Rhiannon Simpson from Ballarat is one of the entrants this year. She's a finalist. Made it to the final, she was in it last year as well, and she came up against the eventual winner in her heat last year. She again did a great job then and this year. We're rapt that she came back, and we've got her featuring in a couple of gigs at the festival as well, which we're rapt about. And she'll be up in about 5 minutes' time. We've got her in the studio, so we're going to have a chat to Rhiannon, and she will play live for us, so that's special.